salt, and I thought to myself, or not compost, but manure. Okay, we all know that there's a very common thread there. If it's raw manure, that
it could be the devil depending on who you talk to.
Yeah, because of the salt load. I mean, it could be the issue. Tying that into biologicals, I also make an argument too that in my area, and you've drove through the sandhills of Nebraska,
it's amazing. Where did they come from?
Well, there's probably a lot better answer than what I could say. So, but
I used to office out of Valentine.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. But I just think about cattle, ruminant manure, buffalo. I mean, that ground has got to where it is today because of manure and cycling.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely in my area, definitely lighter soils. It is something that I've seen good benefit, definitely if it's composted. And there's biologicals within that compost, but then if you're also finding your most productive area and making an inoculum of some sort and just drenching over the top, there's enough food source in that compost to keep feeding whatever you brewed.
Oh, and absolutely.
And then go.
And you don't want too much food. So if you start adding the food sources to it, these high nitrogens and things like that, sugars, molasses, I know that's the new craze right now is molasses. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it changes that diversity. So think of it as a population. You have a population in this cup, and this has all the diversity in the world.
Yep.
When I add a drop of 1034O, it's not that it's bad, but it changes the diversity to favor the new environment with the 1034. If I add a pinch of manure, it changes the diversity to live with those nitrates. And you only get less organisms that can grow in that environment. So now you have less diversity. So I'd rather put out a bunch of starving microbes that are really diverse.
Yep.
They're resilient. It's very hard to kill them.
Yep.
Than put out less that are hungry. I don't know. And these manures that's why, a chemical fertilizer guy would tie this manure, it's garbage, It just shows you that manure really is fertilizer. So it's the high loads of the nitrates, the quote unquote salts, that's why it works. It's really dominant in bacteria. It can overwhelm. So a lot of guys get it cheap or they have it and it's a waste product. They got to get rid of it. So if you can just age the manure, boy, it's a much better product.
Yeah.
And then the really the religious type organic people, they hate the manure. And they'll turn the manure into a compost before they apply it. So they'll take one further step away.
Well, and when you get to that composted stage, I don't know if I can find anything to argue about why that's not a good idea unless your plant nutrient numbers are high enough in the soil that applying that compost is now you're putting all this out there and you're not matching yield to your fertility.
True.
But until that happens, I don't know if I've ever seen compost
I don't think I've
fail.
Ever. No, and how could it?
Yeah.
Now, the problem I do have with it is we're putting it out, and some of the guys are matching nitrogen budgets. They really are putting a lot of stuff out.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But the problem the only problem I've encountered with it today has been it's just the release. The release of the nutrients is a lot longer than I would expect them to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's temperature. I don't know if it's soil biology.
I just think, it goes back to all those squares, all those circles in that 3-circle model. It matters what's going with the physical, it matters what's happening with the chemical and what's happening in your biological world, how fast that stuff's going to break down.
That makes
it's all three of the categories.
It does. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then also the crop. Let's not ignore her.
Exactly.
If you look at corn and some of that we've been talking about this guy's paper all day, but Fred Below out of Illinois, if you start looking at the major uptake pattern, let's assume corn, you're taking in most of your nitrogen between V4 and VT.
Yep.
And not that you don't take nutrients in other times, but you're really taking it in then.
Well,
so we're just not matching the uptake of the crop. It's not that you don't have enough So it depends. If you're certified organic, we might be supplementing with an amino acid package, typically a fish. And if you're not certified, we like AMS, we're using UAN, we're melting urea.
Yeah.
So, and we're trying to do it in low volumes so that we're not creating these environments that favor those organisms. And we're trying to maintain diversity for the most part.
Well, I think that's so unique, and maybe brought me back, it grounded me a little bit again, is thinking about those applications that we put on those soils does make a different expression of biology that's going to be there.
It changes the environment.
It does.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's something to keep in check too. I mean, yeah, we need Zach to come on. He could probably
bring his microscope. Man.
Yeah,
this guy,
and he would just start going at it. But
we were at Commodity Classic together, and we're doing a soil health project in Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we'll be, I guess it's our second or third year, but they have a big agriculture event, and we go down there. We're in the center of their World's Ag Fair, basically.
Okay.
And the farmers will bring in their different soil, and we'll teach them about how to grow it. So, we'll have to incorporate Zach into these things one day. Zach Wright.
Yeah. Well, Robert, it's been a great day.
Absolutely. And I think tomorrow we're in the field.
Yes.
So we're going to get some
more live action.
Yeah, enough of this. We're going to see what's
we need
growing.
Some vitamin D here.
That's right.
But no, Singular, follow us on the podcast. YouTube, we have a series with Robert talking about different products.
Yeah.
Go on. We got merch on our website. Also, if you're interested in any of these products, please reach out, go through the website, email us. We'll get you satisfied. Robert, thank you again for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for having me and representing Ag America. We really are, devoted to just turn in agriculture transparent again. And information should be free so we can make informed decisions.
There we go. Well, awesome.
Thanks for having me, team.
Yes, thank you.
Guys, if you've liked the information that you've seen so far, go ahead and check out the full-length podcast on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe there. It's also on all the major podcast platforms. We're constantly dropping info and more content on all the social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Check it out for a lot more content.